was chimping? Chimps. Welcome to Monkey Boys Toys, against the stunning backdrop of the sofa. Thanks very much for joining me again. Here's a grumpy octopus to look at, and another grumpy octopus to look at, and another grumpy octopus to look at, and a small little grumpy octopus to look at. All right, I'm sorry, I'll stop doing that now. It's not funny anymore, is it? So yes, guys, this week I'm going to be taking another look at some of the Funko Savage World figures that were released back in 2018. But before I get into that, I suppose I should remove the grumpy octopuses from their... Oh my Christ. What the fuck am I going to do with that thing? Okay, guys, give me a moment. Sorry about that. I'm not sure where I go from there. Anyway, as I said, this week we're going to be looking at the Savage World figures. To be more specific, the horror wave that was brought out by Funko in 2018. Now, these were 5.5-inch figures in the style of the Masters of the Universe characters. They're very similar. They are heavily inspired by the film properties, and they are licensed items. Some of them look more recognisable than others. The Freddy one in particular being rather odd, but the rest look fairly recognisable. And I've picked up the final two in the wave, so I thought we would have a look at those today. And there's just a couple of interesting things to point out about them. Well, interesting to me anyway. So here we go. Here's the first item that I picked up, which is Michael Myers. Now, you may have seen on my previous Savage World video, I showed some of these figures, and I pointed out that they had spelled Michael Myers' name wrong on the card. Now, this version that I received, his name is spelled correctly. I think someone left a comment asking whether they thought that the mistake had been spotted and corrected, and I didn't know. And it appears that certainly for this figure at least, they did spot the error. If we look at the back of the card, it's also spelt correctly there. If I just bring in the Freddy figure, here we go, not very much like Freddy, but they have spelled his surname wrong. This says Kreuger, and his name is Kruger. But on the back of this card, we see that they have spelled Michael Myers' surname wrong. I'll just bring up the next one. We can see the spelling difference in those. It might be a small detail to some, but I find it quite interesting that they made this mistake in the production and then have corrected it subsequently. So yeah, there are examples of this which I'll pop up to the side now, where you can see Michael Myers' name is spelled wrong. I'm not sure if I feel lucky that I've got the correct spelling, or if I'm slightly disappointed that I haven't got the incorrect spelling. I don't know if one is more valuable than the other, but anyway, there we go. I thought that'd be interesting just to point that out. So here is Michael Myers. Again, it's kind of, I mean, we can tell it's Michael Myers because obviously the mask of William Shatner there. So we can see it is the shape. I mean, there has been some artistic license obviously taken with the rest of his clothing and attire. You know, we've got the wrist guards, and we've got this sort of, I guess, well, I don't know what that is. It's not really a loincloth as such, but you know, you see what I mean. So there are some liberties taken with his design, but we can see that it is Michael Myers. This one is licensed from Halloween Resurrection, which is weird. We see Michael comes with two knives. They're quite nicely shiny, so he can wield a knife in either hand. So yeah, there's Michael. Let's pop him up to the back there, and we'll bring in the last figure that I picked up in this series, which actually has probably become my favourite, and it's Pinhead from Hellraiser 3: Hell on Earth. But this is a fantastic looking figure. He looks really cool. Obviously, the amount of pins in his head are not anywhere near how they would be seen in the film. This is obviously a very stylized version, but I think his face sculpt looks really cool. I really did like the Jason Voorhees figure in this line, but I think Pinhead is now my favourite. He comes with a sort of serrated knife, and then a hooked knife of some description, and also comes with the Lament configuration box here. Now, I don't believe he can hold that in his hands particularly well. You might be able to balance it in there. but it's a nice accessory to have nonetheless. So there we go. So there's Pinhead. Let's see if nope, they spelt Michael Myers wrong on the back of that one as well. But there you go. There's the 5 figures in the collection, and I have all of those now, so I'm very happy to complete the collection. I think it's a fun line. We'll have a look at a moment, or in a moment, at one of the loose figures, so we can have a look at the articulation and the build quality. I'm not sure they're amazing quality, but certainly on the card they really do look the part. And I'm quite impressed with this little line. I also have the Thundercats line, which will be coming to the channel fairly soon, again by the Funko Savage World, and under that banner, and they are also very good looking figures. Let's just pop Pinhead there for a second, and I'll bring in a loose example of one of the figures, and this is of course Leatherface from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The figure is fairly heavy. It doesn't feel hollow and lightweight. It doesn't feel cheap. There are a couple of areas that do look a little bit cheap though. For example, the seam on the neck joint, if you see here, is a bit janky. It's not the best fit, and it doesn't quite marry up all the way around when you turn the head. And there is a slight difference in colour between the paint on the neck and the plastic used in the mould of the body. The head only moves this far, although why you would want to move it all the way around is anybody's guess. The arms are articulated at the shoulders. They're nice and stiff. I suppose there is some articulation here in the chainsaw part of his arm there, because this just clips onto a ball joint. It can also be swapped out with this hammer, so we can have the hammer on that side instead, but as he was able to hold the hammer, or the mallet, I figured he might as well just hold it. The legs are okay. They're not the best construction. You can't really see in here, but they are a ball joint construction. They're not the rubber hip joints that the Masters of the Universe figures have, but they stand pretty well. Got no real issues with them. So overall, I think they're pretty nicely made figures. As we can see, like the shoulder joint here is that's a bit janky. It doesn't quite, as you can see, it's sort of a bit, sometimes it joins, sometimes it doesn't. So I guess some corners perhaps were cut in the construction or the moulding process. I'm not sure, but overall I think these figures from Funko are really nice. I do like them, and as I say, I will be featuring the Thundercats line on the channel fairly soon, because I was able to complete that with loose versions, and I think they look really good, so keep an eye on the channel for those. Let's pop Leatherface here between his horrific counterparts there. So there we go, guys. Yeah, I thought this video would sort of ease us out of the Halloween period. Nothing too horrific this week. If you'd like to see a horrific video, please do go back and check last week's video, and indeed the one before that, if you want to see some horrific content, and possibly the most shocking and disturbing toy lines that I think have ever been produced. But yeah, for this week, I think we're pretty much done. So thanks ever so much for watching, guys. I appreciate your time and your support. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up and share it with any other chimps you may know. Do subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And please leave me a comment and let me know what you think of this Funko Savage World line. Is it something that might interest you? Let me know your thoughts. But until next week, I'm going to make like a shepherd and get the flock out of here. See you next time. Bye.
Meep meep.